Well, we're just minutes away from Donald Trump's first live remarks after his loss in the Wisconsin primary last night. And not everyone in Bethpage, New York is happy that he's there. There are protesters that are gathering ahead of this rally. Fox News' David Lee Miller is with the protesters and our very own Connell McShane inside awaiting the rally. You can hear the electricity, but there's some excitement with David Lee Miller as well. David, to you first.
Charles, we are still in what is designated as the free speech zone. This has been set up by authorities for the protesters.
Trump's not qualified to run this country. Not qualified at all.
There are only about 200 protesters here, but they are very vocal. You heard it for yourself. And you can take a look here and you can see, as I speak to you now, some of the Trump supporters continuing to arrive down the end of the street. You can see the barricades that have been set up in anticipation of the anti-Trump demonstrators. They expected about 1,000 so far. Only a few hundred are here. And as the Trump supporters walk down the street, the anti-Trump demonstrators shout things out. They exchange words. So far, only words, but people on both sides feel very, very strongly about their positions. With us now, one of the organizers of this event, Lisa Tyson. You're with Long Island Progressive, a grassroots coalition. Firstly, I have to ask you about the turnout. They say 12,000 people inside, got a few hundred outside. Are you disappointed?
No, not at all. We just found out about this on Sunday, and people just came out and said, no, Trump is not our guy. He is talking about racist things about immigrants, women, and Muslims, and we want to just say no, and that's exactly what this crowd is doing here today, so we're very happy.
And who is here today? It seems it is a diverse group of people. Some are Bernie Sanders supporters, union people, women's groups. Tell me in your words.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having calls the past 2 days. There are a lot of different organizations, Long Island Immigrant Alliance. I mean, we really look at all the different factions that this guy, Trump, has really offended, and they're out here today, and that's who you're seeing.
How optimistic are you that your message is being heard and it is going to make a difference?
We know we were successful today. We've been doing so many stories all across the globe. People are petrified of this guy becoming president. So the more we can keep saying what he's really about, the racist rhetoric that he keeps saying to everyone, whether an immigrant, whether a woman, whether you're a Muslim, and who else is he going to attack next, we know our message is going out there, so we know we were successful today.
Lisa Tyson, thank you very much. And Charles, one thing worth noting, we are in Bethpage, Long Island, and what's especially noteworthy about that is this is a very short distance from Queens, New York, where Donald Trump was born. This is literally his backyard, and it is here that there are thousands and thousands who are turning out to support him, but also at this hour, at least hundreds, some very vocal demonstrators saying they do not approve of his message. But despite the very passionate positions on both sides, so far there has not been any violence. Police say it will not be tolerated, and right now only the exchange of fiery rhetoric on the by the two sides, and things so far peaceful. That as a helicopter, presumably a police helicopter, hovers overhead. Back to you.
Fiery rhetoric. That's the American way. That's how we like it. Thanks a lot, David. And now to Connell McShane, who's actually at the rally inside. All right, Connell, a little different story there. I can feel the electricity here.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, for these people who have been waiting for a while for Donald Trump, as David was talking about, a guy who grew up not very far from here, to come here. He's held large rallies like this, very similar to this, in many other parts of the country, but now thousands, maybe more than 10,000 people have turned out to see him very close to his home. Now, David was talking to that protester a moment ago, said they only found out about the Trump rally over the weekend on Sunday, and maybe that was one of the reasons that there weren't as many protesters turning out to voice their displeasure with Donald Trump. Well, in fairness, the people in here only found out about the rally over the weekend as well, and the local authorities told us they may be as many as 12,000 people inside of this venue, and just from the looks of things, and I'm sure you can get the sense from behind me, the sea of the red caps with "Make America Great Again" that we've seen in other parts of the country. This place is packed. I would say from where I'm standing to the back of the venue, it's maybe 150, 200 yards, and it's just a sea of people. It's all one level, It's not like a stadium where people would be angled up and be able to see. It's all one level, so people are now on their tippy toes looking over, seeing this. Trump taking the stage yet? Obviously he hasn't. Sometimes, by the way, comes out early, so we'll keep an eye out to see if he does so tonight. You know what was up there a few minutes ago, Charles, I'm sure you know, is Carl Palladino, who had run for governor unsuccessfully on the Republican side here in New York, but is now the co-chairman of Mr. Trump's New York campaign. And, he was hitting all the usual notes that you hear, talking about political correctness and how the country has become too politically correct, and we can't say Merry Christmas anymore and that kind of thing. Crowd goes wild. That's the way these Trump rallies always are. Takes a little shot at the press. Crowd goes wild. Again, similar to what we've seen in many other states. All right, so as we wait for Trump to come out, Charles, I think there are also some important political points to make. He had a tough, not only night in Wisconsin last night in losing to Ted Cruz and losing by a lot, he had what many analysts will tell you was the toughest week of his campaign before that. So yesterday, Corey Lewandowski, the campaign manager, who's been in the news himself for all the wrong reasons, he came out and he said, listen, the Trump campaign is going to change things up a little bit. In the next few weeks, instead of large rallies like this, we're going to see more serious policy speeches. Many of them will be held in smaller venues like economic clubs, things like that. That must be starting some other night, Charles, because this is classic Trump. What we've seen in other states, we are going to see in his home state tonight. And the crowd, I think that's what they want to see. They want to see the Trump that they've seen on TV, firing them up, because even with the warm-up acts, the Palladino and others, as soon as one of those lines comes out about, as I say, political correctness or taking a shot at the press, the crowd is just ready to jump and go wild. Now, in terms of protesters, we don't see any of them in here. I know other rallies have been broken up by protests in the past. As I mentioned to you earlier this hour, Charles, they made an announcement. They said, listen, if you see a protester, you're in the crowd here, you see somebody protesting, don't do anything. Don't harm them. Don't touch them. Just alert the authorities, whether it be security, police force, or Secret Service, and they'll take care of the situation and get the person out of here. So we're waiting for Trump. Just a few minutes now, Charles.
All right. Thank you very much, Connell. We'll be right back to you as we wait for Donald Trump. Let's bring back the panelists, Morgan Ortagus, Jenny Beth Martin, Mark Serrano, and Steve Rogers. Mark, talking about these smaller policy-oriented speeches. Listen, we've seen the big crowds. We know the enthusiasm, but a lot of people in this AP poll saying they're worried about a President Trump. 44 out of 10 said they had very serious concerns, and another 2 out of 10 were concerned. Is that what the key is now, to sort of sharpen or let the public know, hey, this is what I'm really about, rather than the sound bites that we play in the press?
It's just the natural progression of a campaign, I think, Charles. Look, Ted Cruz has got great policy chops. The guy can talk about the Constitution. He can talk about the changes we need in America quite effectively. So clearly he's making some progress, and Trump has got to step up his policy game, no doubt about it. So he's going to find the right venues to do so. He's already delivered a couple of substantive speeches throughout the course of this campaign. But let me point something else out. If you're an outsider like me and want to make sure that the corruption in Washington can be turned around, then these are the guys we want in this race at this point. And frankly, I would love to see a Trump-Cruz outsider ticket at some point. But he's got to compete against Ted Cruz right now, and this is one way he can do it, is making a shift in his campaign to look more substantive and really deliver some policy chops. He's got to improve there for sure. All
right. Jenny, I don't know, when I see these protesters, they feel like the kind of protesters I see who, we only saw one woman talking about $15 minimum wage. I know you're not a Trump person, but does it feel like an odd sort of marriage, if you will, that you're on the same side perhaps as the Bernie Sanders folks, the Soros folks, the union folks? I know it seems like odd bedfellows.
Well, politics makes odd bedfellows, but I think that the fact of the matter is the reasons that we're opposed to Trump are probably much different than a lot of the Bernie Sanders.
Why are you opposed?
People, well, we sit there and look at the fact that in 2013, our organization was opposed to the Gang of Eight bill. We were working hard to stop the Gang of Eight bill. Trump was tweeting in favor of amnesty. We were opposed to Obamacare. He said he wants universal health care. He double deals with all of us. I call him double dealing Donald. He changes his position based on what's good for him rather than what's good for the country and rather than sticking to a core set of principles.
Steve, you don't agree with that, though?
No, I don't. In fact, at the end of this journey that we're all on, the story about Donald Trump will be how he brought all kinds of people from all walks of life together involved in the process. Kids are talking about Trump. Moms and pops talking about Trump. We're all talking about Trump. Of the many good things he is responsible for, I think the greatest story is going to be how Donald Trump did what no other candidate, and at least in my lifetime, has been able to do, is rally millions into the process.
What do you make of that, Morgan? You know, there's certainly a huge enthusiasm gap, millions, record break. Every time there's a primary somewhere that sets to establish a new record, Donald Trump's got to get the lion's share of that credit. And would the establishment be crazy to lose that?
Listen, I think not only the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party is divided in a way that we have never seen in modern history. When you look at the exit polls coming out of Wisconsin, Charles, 39% of Republican voters said they would be unhappy with Trump as the nominee and may not vote for him. However, 35% said they would be unhappy with Cruz and would probably not vote for him. So looking at those numbers, I see an incredibly divided party. I've been saying on your show for months at this point, someone's got to step up if you're going to be the standard bearer of the Republican Party and bring the party together. Trump is the front runner. He should be making those moves. I see Cruz making those moves, but other than meeting with Reince Priebus, he hasn't been making those steps, and he needs to if he's going to lead our party.
What he's saying is that how can he make those steps when the GOP is stabbing him in the back all the time? I mean, if that's his position. I want to go.
Be able to close the deal.
I want to go back real quick to Connell McShane. Connell, have you had a chance to talk to any of the supporters inside the building? I know they're all excited. And again, we can feel the excitement. If you have, what are they telling you?
Well, the same thing they told us in other states. Let me interrupt you, Charles. We have, I think, our first protester of the night. I doubt that Pete can do anything to show you what's over to our right now, but what happened earlier is that the crowd was given an announcement. As I told you, they said, hey, if you see a protester, just point at them and start chanting, Trump, Trump, Trump. So just to my left, we saw a number of fingers come up, and they started pointing, say, hey, it's this guy, Trump, Trump, Trump. Pete's trying to get the camera off the tripod now. There he goes. And he'll try to show you over to the right where the Trump sign is up. I think things are calming down there. I saw one of the agents go in and take care of the man or woman that they were all pointing at. Now the fingers are being pointed at this person, and I believe they're going to escort the person out. So to the extent, I know you can see the cameras pointing. There we go.
Right.
There's the big cheer.
Oh, there we go.
For the course, Charles,
there we go.
At these Trump rallies, right? Tough to see, but they're getting the person out of here, I think.
Connell, stay right there, buddy. I'm going to have to hand the show off to Lou. Again, folks, 12,000 people in there, very, very excited. It's an amazing day, an amazing situation we're going through, this election process. Now, Lou Dobbs.